it's a really cool photo. It really shows tense fear or shock reaction from these four people. And I think there's a fifth person being drawn up. You think not? But it's a great photograph.
It could very likely be a fifth person because you can see the pant portion, what looks like a sleeve on the left and the white, but
their legs and feet, sort of like leaping over the woman's head who's underneath it. It's cool. I don't know what it's about, but it's to me is a very. I mean,
not
really,
that.
How could you possibly fake an image like that in 1967? And now I don't. So I know people are fascinated by the idea that these unseen forces are out there. Tell us what you know of poltergeists. Do you believe in them?
Well, yeah, because ghosts are poltergeists. Right. I do believe that there are other spirits that reside on the earth that don't seem to be able to move forward. So they are the ones who become like the poltergeists, the ones that like Bill Horror, where they destroy a house trying to make a point, sightings of people. They're not trying to make a point, but just the fact that they're poltergeists to me are the ones that are trapped. That's poltergeist activity as well. The drawer on the dresser would slide open, I'd close it. It'd slide open, I'd close it. And I taped it because I couldn't sleep at night when I could hear it. Like it's and only one drawer. If it was several drawers on that dresser, I would say there's a problem with the dresser. But it was one drawer only.
Now, if it were me, do you think it would have happened? Do you think I would be able to connect with that kind of energy, or is it because it was you that your energy ability connected with that energy that's floating around, like you said, finding the right person?
Yeah.
And now Radio Sydney presents Seeing Dead People, episode 55, Poltergeist Unmasked, Borley, Rosenheim and Enfield explored.
Well, given that we are, Darcy, at the end of 2024 and at the darkest and gloomiest time of the year, I wanted to take a deep dive into something suitable, something ringing with really spooky events, something supernatural, physical, psychological occurrences that have fascinating, disturbing, and intriguing cultural impacts so it's a phenomenon that includes all that. Have you any idea what I'm talking about?
Well, I don't. Well, maybe there is murder in it, but it doesn't quite feel like you're talking about murder, but it does coincide with maybe people who have died. So we'll go with my paranormal.
Okay, right on. It is got to do with paranormal.
It was some of your choice of words.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start off with another major challenge for you. I'm going to show you 3 photos, and I'm going to see if you can divine what we're talking about today. I think it's really tough, and I'm kind of being really unfair here, Darcy, but I thought, what the heck, we'll give it a whirl. Unfortunately, I can't show our audience these photos, so you'll have to describe them in some detail if you don't mind.
All right.
But right up front, I want our audience to know these are black and white pics. They're of nothing special, just of ordinary life, and they're easily available when you search on Google for them, so it's not difficult to get them. So let's have photo number 1. Let's have a look at photo number 1, if you wouldn't mind describing what photo number 1's about, Darcy.
Photo number 1 is a lady standing in a hallway. It looks like an entrance to a door because there looks like there's a jacket, chandelier with 3 bulbs that I can see, and just your regular screw bulbs. A shelf with some paraphernalia on it, a reflection in the window. She almost makes me think she's in a meditative stance, just the way she's standing there. She's dark hair, the bob, and she's holding her hands like crossed in front of her. It's either she's meditating on something or she's leaning against the wall because she drank too much, one or the other.
Okay, so you're getting nothing other than that from that photograph.
Well, I definitely feel some energy, and I'm not picking anything up other than it feels like she's either listening for something, trying to feel something. It's that sense of I'm waiting to hear is what it feels like.
Okay, well, let's look at photo number 2. See what you get from photo number 2. Can you tell us about this photo?
Okay, photo number 2 are 2 kids in a bed. They've got the John Travolta.
No,
sorry. It went in. Wait a minute. I don't have photo 2.
Oh, frig. Okay,
I have 1, 3, and 4.
Okay, sorry. There's photo number 2. Thank goodness I can show it to you.
Okay. Whoa. Now that's a spooky hallway for you. I wonder who's going to jump out at that. It almost makes me feel like someone hung themselves in this rectory hallway.
Okay.
Definitely, you can see a man's face in the floor. Ooh.
You
So
might be able to.
do they have like a poltergeist or several or two? Oh, there's a man in the corner too. Oh my God, I got goosebumps. Okay.
Cool. So you've mentioned the word poltergeist. Why do you say that?
Because there's a skeleton face. I thought it was a man, but it's a skeleton face in the floor. And then I saw the man hovering above the ground in the corner. So that's why I say poltergeist.
Wow. Well, you just binged my little spiny shivering going on because yes, we're going to talk poltergeist today. This is the rectory hallway. It's a nice arched, old-fashioned building, as you can see, with a wooden floor. I see no skeleton face in the reflection of any light on the floor, but you do.
I do.
Okay, and you see other things, like you see a man and stuff.
Yeah, and I swear it feels like someone swung or fell in that rectory and never got up from it.
Okay, cool. Okay, now look at, I think you have photo number 3, which I cannot show the audience. You have to describe it to us.
Okay, photo 3 is a bedroom. There are 2, I'm going to guess those are girls in the bedroom, twin beds across from each other, the little heater under the window. On the wall are photos or pinups of John Travolta, Barbados, and a few other things. When I first looked at it, I thought I was going to throw up. So normally it means someone's died in here. Oh, it's a chair. Sorry, it's not a heater, it's a chair.
Okay.
When I get that initial reaction, it normally means someone has passed in here, maybe violently, but I would definitely say there's a lot of disturbance going on in this room. What's really weird, and I think one of the things that disturbs me the most now that I know it's a chair, I sort of feel as though someone's sitting in the chair between them.
Oh, that's gross.
Yeah.
Like
there's just it feels like a man. Doesn't feel like a woman. Okay.
Older, young, or
old? Good question. I'm going to go older than they are, but I also think, okay, there's definitely a man. I think there's an S, like that S is connected to it.
S
or connected. Yeah, S as in Sam, Sun,
okay,
Sunday.
okay.
But there's also, to me, I'm going to say, I think there's a younger in this room as well. But when I look at him, I don't feel threatened. I don't feel like I'm going to throw up.
Okay, cool. So now you've seen 3 photos, okay?
Mm-hmm.
As you immediately found in photo number 2, you nailed it. We were talking about poltergeists. And if you recall, Darcy, we've spoken about poltergeists in the past.
Yes.
We had a terrifically chilling episode called Cursed by the Bell Witch, which was episode 43, where we talked about this bizarre phenomenon. And I just want to remind our audience, you can go to Radio Sydney's website, look up our Seeing Dead People webpage, and you can listen to instantly episode 43, Cursed by the Bell Witch. It's a great episode. I recommend you do it. So let's just make it clear what poltergeists are about. First, the word. It's German. Okay, it comes from 2 German words. Poltern, which means to make noise in German, and which is spirit. So it refers to, in general parlance, as disturbances caused by an unseen force, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we're going to talk about these 3 photographs because they represent 3 events, famous events of poltergeist activity. And we're going to discuss them in turn, one after the other. And we're going to discuss whether we think they are legitimate cases of poltergeist activity, whether they're fraudulent, whether they were hoaxes, whether there was a combination of that, whether poltergeists even exist. We're going to talk about that as we go along. So I know people are fascinated by the idea that these unseen forces are out there. Tell us what you know about poltergeists. Do you believe in them?
Well, yeah, because ghosts are poltergeists.
Right.
I do believe that there are other spirits that reside on the earth that don't seem to be able to move forward. So they are the ones who become like the poltergeists, the ones that like Bill Horror, where they destroy a house trying to make a point, sightings of people. They're not trying to make a point, but just the fact that they're poltergeists to me are the ones that are trapped, that for some reason they have decided to stay on the earth, whether it's because they've had unfinished business, whether because their death was traumatic, or because they just missed the ship as it went by to hop into the white light. Okay. There is a slight difference between poltergeist and ghosts in the fact that ghost to me is trying to come through to give a poltergeist is more one that's going to cause a disturbance of some sort.
Okay, good explanation. Thank you. And I agree. We had a great double header episodes about the Amityville horror. That they were terrific just recently. So when you talk about the idea of what poltergeists do, they are physical disturbances. Let's talk about what they manifest as. It seems to me that they're usually, throwing objects kind of thing, knocking stuff down, making sounds, banging on walls,
Yeah.
maybe even voices being provided. One of the most intriguing things, I think, or two intriguing things. Number one, they seem to not last a long time. It's like a short burst of really intense activity. And then they seem to be focused on one person or emanating from one person's personality or energy. And they're often a young teenager, because this seems to be a time, obviously, when we're in a lot of turmoil ourselves as teenagers. So there's a lot of hormones, there's a lot of turbulence going on in your head. And maybe that's creating this kind of energy. Would you agree that those are sort of the kind of manifestations of poltergeist?
Definitely agree with that.
Okay. Well, let's talk about, you mentioned that why they are out there. Do you think they have grievances and they're trying to come forward? Do you think they're just mischievous little pains in the butts? Are they literally an energy coming from someone? What's happening here?
It can be several things. Okay. So when someone's really stressed or going through an emotional challenge, you can get poltergeists because their emotions is drawing that energy towards, like drawing the poltergeist. Other times it could be because they want justice for something. They, like I said, if they were suddenly killed and their death was questionable, they may stick around to get justice. May take a long time because they got to get the right person to hear them. Right. Other times it's just plain old mischief. I mean, we have one in my apartment that every now and then we have to go around and straighten all the pictures.
Where you are now?
Where we are now. He'll just move the pictures on us. Just tilt them enough that it looks like maybe we had an earthquake, but we haven't.
Yeah, right.
Okay. And we've actually taped a couple of pictures onto the corners to make sure they don't move, but they still move.
You're kidding.
Nope.
Wow. Well, that's so. Like you went to Alberta for a trip. You had something incredible happen to you in the hotel room. That's poltergeist activity, I guess.
That's poltergeist activity as well. The drawer on the dresser would slide open. I'd close it. It'd slide open. I'd close it. And I taped it because I couldn't sleep at night when I could hear it. And only one drawer. If it was several drawers on that dresser, I would say there's a problem with the dresser. But it was one drawer only.
Now, if it were me, do you think it would have happened? Do you think I would be able to connect with that kind of energy, or is it because it was you that your energy ability connected with that energy that's floating around, like you said, finding the right person?
Yeah, it could be because it was me. Okay, that's a definite. But is there a possibility it could have happened to you? Absolutely. Would you have recognized it the same way I did? I doubt it.
Okay, if the door opened and I closed it, and then it opened again, and then I closed it, then it opened again, I think I would be calling room service and saying something's odd here and I want out of this room.
Okay.
I wouldn't be taping it shut and spending the night with it.
Yeah, no. But I didn't have to worry about air conditioning that night because it got really cold in the bedroom. Now that you might have noticed.
Yes, I probably would have noticed. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, see, as I thought when I was thinking about this program, I knew you had some experience with poltergeist, so it's cool to have your actual personal experience tied in with these older stories. So let's get back to our older story then. Our first story, if you look at photo number 4, we're talking 1967, Marion town. So we're talking Germany here. It becomes host of one of the most perplexing paranormal investigations of the 20th century. It's a law office. The fellow who owns the law office, the head lawyer himself, is the man in photo number 4. His name is Sigmund Adam. If you could look at the photo, he's wearing a really cool kind of wintry sweater, and he's got his hand, placing his hand on a wall where he has some plate hanging, and above his head is like a chandelier kind of hanging down.
Yes.
Can you anything from this fellow, because he and his law office become completely under siege by a poltergeist for a number of months in 1967.
Okay, first of all, I get the impression maybe those plates have done a little flying trip. Okay, I'm seeing paper rain down on him. And I also get the impression that that chandelier, because it's held by 3 metal loops, would be a fantastic pendulum to, like, if it didn't twirl in circles, I'd be surprised. Okay. So yeah, and this has something to do with the building next door. Okay, because I keep seeing a face come out of the wall. So my impression is something next door happened to him, but it was coming through because, remember, looking for justice. If he's a lawyer, maybe they could get justice.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, you are right on many accounts here. He is showcasing with his hand the plates on the wall that came down, onto the ground. I don't know why they didn't break. They came down. The lamp was definitely, we'll talk a little bit about that. So his office was a typical legal office in the 60s in Germany, nothing special. It was modest. He had a small team working for him. It was a very calm, regular legal organization until they had some strange occurrences starting to happen in the fall of 67. At the beginning, they were just minor things that you might dismiss, lights flickering, phones were malfunctioning, fuses blowing inexplicably. And, people would just, shrug those off. It happens to fuses, electrical currents get broken and lights can flicker. Yeah. It was nothing that they took very seriously. But then the phenomena began to escalate, and it became harder to say this is something legitimate. So they had fluorescent lights exploding in the office. They had filing cabinets falling down on their own, people witnessing it, nobody behind the filing cabinet, but they're crashing down. Okay, shifting. Telephones are beginning to dial randomly. There are eerie voices and there are weird little tones that they can hear happening in the rooms. And one of the interesting things is that the occurrences weren't just in one office, like the main office with the reception or his office at all. It was throughout the actual law firm. So in multiple places. Now, we met somebody at the very beginning of this discussion today in our photo number 1. So I want you to look at photo number 1 again.
All right.
You're going to see, and you're going to meet now Anne-Marie Alburl. She's a secretary at law firm, and she becomes the focus of these activities. So have a look at her and see what you think of now, Anne-Marie. When you were talking before about she was kind of meditating, what do you think now?
I'm still standing by, okay, so that would make sense in the fact that I thought she was doing a meditation, a listening, trying to figure out what's going on. So if she's the focus, did you say she's 19?
I did.
Wow. She looks way older.
I know.
So then I would say if she became the focus, because that's how I felt here, is she's the focus, then there is something probably very traumatic going on in her life. And it could also be, and there's several things that could be traumatic for her if she was, okay, she's in Germany, so she could be being bullied, not because she's in Germany, but it could be a death in the family that has brought it forward. Someone maybe she was so close to, or someone she had unfinished business with.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Well, these disturbances, as I say, escalate, and then they finally gain the attention of the public, and they gain the attention of a researcher, a parapsychologist, famous guy named Dr. Hans Bender. And he investigates this kind of stuff as a business or whatever. And so he came in thinking this is a great opportunity to test out poltergeist activity. Yeah. So we're going to look at Dr. Bender. He's in photo number 5. Okay, and in fact, I can show photo number 5. Where did it go? My photo number 5. I've lost it. There it is. Okay. It's a black and white shot. He's a very intense looking man.
Yes, he is.
What do you think of him? Do you think he's like a total fraudster? I mean, this is supposedly a scientific guy from a university. He's a doctor. So he's got a doctorate of some sort, PhD in something. What do you think of him? He comes in with cameras and, magnifying equipment and measuring equipment, trying to find out what's going on in this law office.
I think people read him wrong. Okay. When I look at him, he's intense and everything, but look at his eyes. It's like very, very intense, as though he's trying to see beyond your soul, beyond who you are. I don't think he's a fraudster. I feel that maybe he was made fun of, but I really honestly believe that he wanted to find answers. And it's funny if he went from science to this, but I do find a lot of people who have been in science and then decide to do this, they're going into it for several reasons. One, they want proof because they're trying to debunk the person. They're trying to say, and this is could be what he was doing, but I think he's seen things, so that's why he's doing it.
Okay, well, he and his crew, I guess, actually had some pretty good eyewitness events with their cameras, their equipment, and they really couldn't come up with, the natural explanations. They were just beyond natural explanations. And I'm going to show you something that was a photograph that's pretty exciting because it appears to show strips of energy coming down from one of those lamps that we were talking about, a large ceiling towards a group of people. So look at photo number 6. This is a pretty famous photograph. I can't show the audience, but they can look for it themselves. Poltergeist. And have a look at photo number 6 and tell us what you think is happening there, because it's really quite remarkable.
Okay, so there appears to be 4 people in the room. Some pictures on the walls. And from as you said, the light fixtures, there's 3 sets of lights coming down. Now, what's really weird for me is it looks like a teacup and there's a person and I can see the face, but it looks more skeletal. And there's a person in the teacup hanging upside down. That's how I see it.
Now that I'm looking at it, Darcy, imagine somebody, I think I see the back end of somebody, literally, their bum.
Yeah.
They're leaning, or you see their shoulders are in the white area. That's the light. And then they have legs.
Yeah.
Like they're leaping through the air. Is that what you see?
Yep.
So I'm not sure if that's supposed to be someone leaping through the air literally or what. Now that I look at it quite closely, I think, wow, it's a very, very strange photograph because the 4 people in the room are terrified.
Yeah.
You can see them. They're just like, holy mackerel, what's going on here? And I'm not sure if perhaps someone else, the 5th person in the room, had been picked up by this energy level.
That's not a person in the chair, in the light. If you look at the image, you'll see what looks like the Dutch shoe. And
yes,
okay. And then if you look to the wall, the empty space, the door is what it is. It looks like a skeleton face upside down.
Shoot. I don't see the skeleton hanging upside down, but I do see this person. It seems to me like somebody's being pulled up by almost like a parachute, but backwards. You're pulling them backwards on the parachute by these 3 lines of light, these flashes of light, like lightning coming down, picking someone up energy-wise and pulling them forward. That's what I see.
Yeah. Now that you've done that. But what's interesting is it also against the wall, whatever that is, if it's a window, it looks like a seascape. It's not a picture.
Yeah, you're right. It's like a blind coming down, and it looks almost like a cliff scene of a water scene and like the Dover or something. I don't know what. It might be a painting, because if you look at the top, Darcy, it's leaning forward.
Oh, maybe it looks like a window.
It might be a painting or even a mirror.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. It's a very photograph.
Yeah, but if it was a mirror, you wouldn't have, it would have to be, oh no, because there's a person's face in that. 2 people's faces. 1, 2.
In the mirror that we're calling it?
Yeah, in where I said the photograph, what looks like a seascape. There's a man's face on my left side, and then there's a partial face up towards the right side. So there's quite a few poltergeists in there.
Okay, see, I don't see them, but I do see this. It's a really cool photo. It really shows tense fear or shock reaction from these 4 people. And I think there's a 5th person being drawn up. You think not? But it's a great photograph.
It could very likely be a 5th person because you can see the pant portion, what looks like a sleeve on the left and the white, but
their legs and feet, sort of like leaping with a woman's head who's underneath it. Yeah, it's cool. I don't know what it's about, but it's to me is a very. I mean,
not
really,
that.
How could you possibly fake an image like that in 1967? And now I don't know if it's been faked since. I can't tell you, but if we just took it as as truth that it was taken at that time frame, pretty tough to fake something like that. So it's pretty exciting photograph.
Very
really neat. Okay, supposedly one of Hans Bender's photograph camera that caught this incredible scene in this room in this law office. So I think it's pretty cool. So they had many exciting events happening here. In one in particular, a filing cabinet with a group of people standing around actually fell down, nobody behind it. So even though there were these looked like legitimate events that could not be justified, there were still a lot of skeptics about the issue, which of course you can understand. A lot
Yes.
blamed Anne Marie herself, saying she was faking it. Now I don't know how she could have faked things because events happened when she wasn't in the room.
Yeah.
So I don't know how powerful this gal is with her energy levels, but it was difficult to think that she could be faking everything or making everything happen. They tried to say, of course, it was the faulty wires and it was nearby construction and the building was shifting and all these ridiculous things that we come up with to justify strange occurrences. But nothing really was enough to justify the number of occurrences, the intensity of the occurrences, the fact that many were experienced by many number of people. They weren't all Anne Marie, and she wasn't always involved in them, nor was she always in the room. So this goes on for a while, right? And then it seems Anne Marie leaves. And then what happens?
Well, most people would think that it would quit. Okay.
And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. So then it would be her energy that would draw the poltergeist towards her.
Okay, but could it really been just her energy and the poltergeist doing all that in different rooms?
Absolutely.
She's not.
Yeah, absolutely. But
Wow.
here's the strange part. Even though you say it quit, I still think there's something else that goes with this. Like there's another location, another energy. I don't think it's done.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard anything since. But what I was just going to say to you is, even though Anne Marie left, so perhaps the connection was broken. She's gone. That doesn't mean the energy isn't still there, waiting for another connection, right?
That's what I
So
mean.
when
I
you're
think there's
talking
something else. Okay, there it's still there. It hasn't left the building.
unlike Elvis.
No.
Okay. Well, I'm going to show you one last picture before we make a decision as to whether this is a realistic event or not. Look at photo number 7. It's a
Okay.
photograph of Anne-Marie, and describe Anne-Marie here to us and tell us, is this woman a fraudster?
I'm going to say no to the fraudster. Okay. She obviously, to me, must have some sort of ability to draw that energy. And she is standing there looking at with her hands like if you were in a meditative state,
Yeah, she's outstretched.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it could just be that we can be psychic, medium psychic, whichever way you want to look at it, without really realizing we have the ability. And if it scares us, we can't do anything with it. So I'm certain she was terrified, probably thought she was going a little crazy, but I think maybe they should have also tested her to see if she could see, feel, or explain the events. I funny because I don't think they focused on her. They focused on the building.
Okay. Yes, I don't know the answer to that. So it's to sum. Are we going to give the Rosenheim poltergeist a thumbs up for a proper
Yes.
poltergeist activity? We're not going to say it's a fault.
Nope, we're going to give thumbs up.
Okay. All right. So our first examination gives us a hit. All right. Well, let's look at number 2. So I want you to look at photo number 8 now, and I can actually show the audience one. It's an old photograph. It's of a really attractive kind of Gothic mansion, right?
Yes.
Okay. And the date is 1892, sorry. 1892. Okay. So tell us a little bit about this photograph, and do you feel anything happening here?
Okay. Well, it calls it the rectory. So to me, a rectory is normally a pastor's place. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Wow. He must have had fun. Okay. So we can physically see there's 2, 3, 4, 5 people on the property.
Right.
Okay. Over to the left side where it looks like a trellis, there's a girl standing. So right at the front of the house on the left-hand side, looks like a trellis or something.
Yep.
And to me, I've got about a couple of people, 2 young kids and another person looking out through the trellis. Can you see that?
No. You're
Okay.
saying these are not people?
Oh, there's another one that just popped up. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, there's about 2, 4, there's another 5 people there.
You're talking people that are spirits.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Well,
and there's 2 ladies on the top floor in the window.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
I'm zooming in on the for our readers or audience, and I don't see anything but windows.
Okay, well, I do, and I would say that they must have had a lot of fun in this rectory.
Okay, well, you recall the second picture you saw was of the arch room, and that was in this rectory, and you immediately twigged to poltergeist activity on that photograph.
Yes.
So we have here a place called the Borley Rectory. Okay, from the onset, it seems it was destined for infamy. Local lore talked about some other building that was in this location before this building came here. Have you any idea what it might have been?
I almost want to say like a sanitarium or a prison, like something where people were trapped inside.
Okay, well, it was a monastery. So I guess you could consider that a place people are trapped inside.
Yeah. Okay, that will make sense because now I'll say what I saw at the beginning when you showed me the first, the photo number 2. I saw a person walking through with a staff, that belt along around and bald part up here. And I was going to say something, but I thought, no, I'm just seeing it. And we hadn't gotten to it yet.
No, right.
So that is what I saw. So those 2 people I thought were in the window aren't women, they're men. And that would explain the look of the guy right there in the trees.
Oh, there's a guy.
Wow. There's,
Get out here, the tree.
okay.
Where are we?
So
The number 8. Where's there somebody near the number 8? Anybody?
okay.
Is that what you're looking at?
So if you look to my right at that big, what looks like a bay window, it looks like there's a person standing just beside the tree.
Okay, I don't see that at all.
Okay.
So you see and did see what we would call a monk, right?
Yes.
Wearing the monk outfit. So
Yes.
that's the monastery. Who else are you seeing then? Have you seen more than one monk? You seeing anybody else? I mean, literally
I do.
more than face?
Well, I'm going to say that I do still see someone hanging building. So I don't know. Oh, okay. So it wasn't just, okay. So the monastery was also used as a hospital.
Probably.
Okay. Because I see patients.
Oh, okay. All right. I know nothing other than we know a Benedictine monastery was on that site before the Borley Rectory was built. Okay. Now, there's a story about the Benedictine monastery. Yes, there was a monk, but the monk was involved with someone. He was involved with a nun. Ooh, not good.
No.
They planned to elope, got caught. The monk was executed, so that could be your hanging man. Who knows? But you haven't seen the nun.
Yeah, she's got dark hair. She's about 5'2", 5'4". She doesn't look heavy, so I'm going to say maybe average size for them. Okay, but what do you know if she was? You use the name Benedictine
monk.
Yeah, but shouldn't they have been in separate monasteries?
Yeah, she would have been in a convent somewhere, not this location. He was in this location, in the male monastery. Yeah.
Okay, so but do you call her a nun? But wasn't she still a novice?
Oh, that I couldn't tell you. The story is a monk and a nun eloped or tried to elope and got caught. And that was the trouble. Now you are describing a woman, but you hadn't described her earlier. You hadn't focused in on nun.
It's when you said the nun, it's the image came into my head.
Okay, so you're not seeing it in the picture, you're seeing it in here.
I'm just seeing her in my head.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, that's the sort of the lore of this area, that the nun and the monk tried to elope. They got caught. The monk was executed, and the nun was walled up alive. Doing that. So that's not very nice. In the local convent, I guess, which is probably nearby. So of course, everybody, nobody necessarily believes this story, but it's a great tale. There's no doubt.
Yes.
There's lots of spookiness going on here. So the Borley Rectory was first lived in by the Bull family, the Reverend Bull and his children. And immediately when they moved in, they started to see ghostly figures, and they saw the nun going across the lawn. They heard footsteps, they heard voices. And amazingly enough, they just kind of learned to accept this and didn't make a big deal out of it and continued to live there pretty happily. So then the Reverend Bull dies. And let's have a look at a second picture of the same rectory in photo number 9, Darcy, and tell us if you see anything else in this more close-up shot of the rectory than we had in the past. You see anything in this one?
I can see a man and a lady in the trees, and the lady They must have changed their clothes when they were going to run off, because he's in a white shirt. She's got a little hat on her head over to the side. I can, again, inside of the entrance where they have the little arches on the outside, there's a person on the right hand side, and it's like he's watching. Oh, look, there is. So they would have worn, the monks there would have worn that hood over their head, right?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, because they're in right before you go through the center one, to the right of the center.
Okay.
There is a monk standing right there, and there is something that resembles a man or a woman, and in the tree to the right of the house, the two people that I see are in the tree to the left of the house.
Wait. Where the number 9 is that where the people are, or the other side?
They're spread out. So
Okay, but are your
okay.
is your nun?
Yes.
Monk.
So where you're what you have up right now, I see a person standing next to the image of a horse.
Yeah, there's something there, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And then if you go over, no, other way. Stop. You went too far. Okay. There is a monk. You can see the darkness of the hands in front in this first arch. And now,
are you talking right there?
Yes, right there. There seems to be an image in the window right in the center. Sort of feel like it's female.
Okay.
Okay,
So
now if you
up here somewhere, right up here.
Yeah, in that window right there. Now, okay, and if you
All
move
right.
the photo over a little more,
Okay.
see the man and the woman in the tree?
No. Where
Okay.
are we? There's kind of a white
Where-
blob at the bottom.
No, that's the white blob at the bottom. It's up higher.
Okay, up higher. Right
Right-
there.
Yeah, right there. There's a man and
This,
a woman.
this area.
Right there where your
Okay.
finger is. And then if you
Oh.
go up higher, you'll see
Okay.
someone holding a book open, and it's like they're reading the book.
How high are they?
Just if you go from that blob you showed and just go straight up,
Okay.
it's right there. Looks like someone holding a book, reading a book, and you can see part of a face.
Oh, now I see it. Oh my God, that's cool. So you're able to distinguish so much from what I consider to be just blobs of light and dark. That's amazing. Okay, lots of things go on in this rectory. All right.
Hey SDP fans, sorry to cut in, but you'll have to wait until our next spooky episode to learn more about the bizarre paranormal events at Borley Rectory and to join us in exploring our final example of poltergeists, this one in Enfield, England. You're going to be amazed at Darcy's keen insights into both occurrences, plus you won't want to miss our wrap-up, where we give the SDP nod to the events we believe were truly supernatural. Thank you for listening to Seeing Dead People, where goosebumps are guaranteed. We would love to hear from you with questions for Darcy about her psychic process or suggestions for other mystifying situations you would like us to investigate. Please shoot us an email to info@radiosydney.ca with Seeing Dead People in the subject line. New episodes air on our website, radiosydney.ca, on the first Saturday of every month. Episodes repeat Saturday nights at 8 p.m. and Sunday mornings at 10 a.m., both Pacific time. All episodes are available as downloadable podcasts at our website or on our YouTube channel, Nicola Furlong Mysteries. I'm Dorian Mortis, weirdly keen on seeing dead people. This has been a presentation of Radio Sydney.